All right, welcome into this edition of the Milwaukee Bucks on Tap podcast. Corey Moen, Evan Byrne. Evan, how we doing?
Doing well.
Doing well. So we're gonna get right into it. It's gonna be a shorter podcast. We're just gonna kind of we're gonna recap the summer league. Okay, the Bucks went 2-3. And it's weird because last time we were talking about it, I thought they were doing a lot better. But you know what?
Yeah, they were 2-0 and then lost the last three.
Okay, but you know what? It's really to watch like players who you wouldn't normally get to see play.
Exactly.
And the Bucks did have some standout players. Okay, so we'll just kind of get right into it. So Evan, who kind of stood out to you as a player that was really good in the summer league?
I'm gonna say outside of MarJon because I think that was a pretty self-explanatory one. I'm gonna go Andre Jackson Jr. I would say with his play style, and I was looking at like the Bucks league leaders for the summer. For the summer league, he averaged 6.4 rebounds, which I think is good, especially for him being a guard too. So I think that's kind of helpful. Obviously, I don't know how that'll translate into the NBA, but he was, I would say, one of my bigger standouts just for his rebounding and then his fast break plays.
Yeah, and the other players that Milwaukee had, okay, obviously you mentioned Andre Jackson Jr. Chris Livingston, I thought, was really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, from Kentucky, he's got that nice little jump hook. Okay, a great defender. I think he'll probably be a two-way guy.
Yeah.
But, based on what I saw, he has some good tools to be a very solid NBA player. The other guy that I was kind of keeping a close eye on, and again, I want to make it very clear. I watched the one game, okay? So the one game that I watched, Omari Moore from San Jose State, I thought was really impressive. I think he kind of vied his way into being a two-way player.
Yeah, I tried to look at some of the guys who would not get as much attention. One of them was Vin Baker Jr. So obviously Vin Baker, his dad is one of the Bucks coaches, but he did, I should say, played for UW Milwaukee, and we're season tickets for that. So I've been watching him play the last few years. I always like seeing him, but outside of him, I think the last one would be, he only played 3 of the 5 games, but I might say the last name wrong, but I know it's Nico Mannion. I thought he was a good pickup because he was supposed to be like a huge pick when he was drafted a few years ago, but with the illnesses that he had. But 4 assists, decent score, about round up 9 points out of his 12 field goal attempts. So I thought he was a pretty good one too, especially potentially just being a herd player. I don't see him being a two-way, but I feel like a lot of these guys could stay on the herd.
If Taco falls on the herd like that,
he'll make it then.
we need Taco Fall. Okay. Because actually one of the clips I posted was him just rotating over and just stuffing this dude. And that was one of Taco Fall's weaknesses coming out of college, was that his lateral quickness wasn't very good. And it's obviously because he's not human. He's like 7. It's like 7'5". Okay, that's not even being tall. That's like I honestly don't know how you go through life being 7'5". That's crazy. That's crazy to me. So I would for really to sell some tickets, Taco Fall to be on the herd next year.
Yeah, I feel like it wouldn't be a bad thing. I feel like some people, assuming there's going to be the delusional fans who would want him on the actual roster, which there's no way that would happen, nor would anyone realistically want him. But yeah, that'll be a good money grabber if you can keep him on there, because people are going to want to go then see Taco Fall.
Yeah, because what everybody thinks is oh my God, he's 7'5", he's going to dominate. It's okay.
He's so awkward. That's the only reason.
Why do you think Boban has been on so many teams? You cannot play those guys for long stretches of minutes. That's the number one issue of having a 7'5" guy on your team or 7'4", is that you can't play him for long stretches. Okay, because here's an example. Say you're on a fast break. Okay, trust me, that 7'5" guy is not running up and down the floor.
No, they would not be human if they were.
No, he's not. Like, they're not running up and down. So you're basically playing 4-on-5.
Yes.
You can play those guys for maybe 15 to 17 minutes a night. That's it. Like, okay, maybe those like Taco Fall is really good in college, dominant, but in the NBA, it's like, you got to have, you got to be able to get up and down the floor.
Yeah, there's not a lot of consistent 7-3+ players who are getting constant minutes, which is why it kind of shows how good Yao Ming was, to be honest, being able to do that. But yeah, he'll be a good herd guy. I'm hoping Lindell isn't a two-way. I hope he kind of stays on the Bucks roster because I really like him. But I would say keeping Taco Fall would be big, and then hopefully Vin Baker and some of those other guys, Nico Mannion as well, just to kind of get a solid herd, because a lot of the guys are getting signed to actual NBA rosters. So the herd have always been pretty decent. So I'm hoping they can kind of like keep that consistency up with their record. But yeah, and then we have MarJon, who did how I expected him to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for me, I think the thing with that, MarJon obviously had a really good, he had a really good summer league. I thought he really showed out. He put up he had a lot. This offseason, he got stronger. I will say that. Okay, he said so himself. He got a little stronger. I think he weighed in about last season. He said 192, and then he increased at this offseason to 215.
Ooh.
It kind of it shows. Okay, obviously we can't see it on the screen. But when you're say going up for a layup and it's contested, it's like, can you knock the other guy back?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you like, or is the guy easily like moving you off the ball? That's one of the things that, that maybe MarJon, and obviously every young rookie struggles with that, is strength. And then you get to the NBA, it's like, oh wow, it's a different animal. So I'm gonna bulk up a little bit.
Yeah, that Giannis transition too of his, I don't know, with probably like year 4 or 5 in the league when he was a little skinny guy and then he was built as hell. But yeah, MarJon obviously training with Giannis too over the summer. I'm assuming that probably helped too with the weightlifting part. But yeah, I'm hoping, or I'm not hoping, I think I'll know that Griffin will use him in some way, especially based off his summer league and the time he spent with him and Giannis in Greece. But 215 to 192 to 215 is a good increase for them. And I think Giannis is a good guy to have him with, just overall.
Okay, I was kind of stalling because I had forgotten my other thought, but I just remembered it. Lindell Wigginton, he could a point guard job next season, and here's why. Because everybody this offseason was like, oh well, the Bucks are in talks for Colin Sexton. Oh well, and now it's like that seems lukewarm at this point. I'm hearing less talks between the Bucks and Colin Sexton. So and they still haven't signed a backup point guard. They still haven't addressed that. John Horst said, I like where we're at right now. So is he being like, I like Lindell. I think he could be a good backup point guard. Because at this point, you're not going to find one on the open market. I don't know where you could possibly go for a backup point guard, but I don't see it happening by a trade. What do you think?
I feel like if it would have happened, or if it's going to happen, it would have happened already. I feel like nothing is really happening right now with the NBA just in general. Summer League's done. All the big signings are done. There hasn't been a trade really besides Bradley Beal and a few other ones, but I feel like it would have happened already. But I don't know. I feel like Lindell could do it. Or at least, yeah, because they lost Wesley, who could have potentially played somewhat, not like really, but I feel like they'll have to rely on Lindell then if they don't get anyone else. And I'd give it to him.
Yeah, that was kind of swept under the radar, by the way. Wesley, what? Yeah, in case
1
you guys
year to
missed
the
it,
Hawks.
Wesley Matthews signed with the Atlanta Hawks.
So random. But
Yeah.
whoever his agent is getting him paid every year. So shout out to him.
Look, I think with a new coach coming in, a new coaching staff, he's like, all right, come on,
He
out with
kind of
the old, in
knows.
with the new. Jeez Louise, goodness. You know, if it wasn't against NBA bylaws and Mike Budenholzer was still the coach, I feel like he would have tried to bring back George Hill for a third term.
Yeah, probably.
Like I don't know what it was with his over reliance on veteran players. And look, I didn't mind Wesley Matthews. He was a good defender, but he's also 35.
Mhm.
Like, and I don't think he was.
He wasn't
I don't know
playing
if he
that
was
much.
I don't know if he was the difference maker that Milwaukee signed him to be his first go around.
No, his first stint he had was pretty good, but yeah, he started to see less and less minutes, especially when AJ Green had his like good stint of shooting well from three, and then he just kind of like didn't see any playing time unless it was garbage minutes or a throwaway game. But that opens up another roster spot. So either they sign someone or I'm not sure. Or they'll get a herd guy up there.
Yeah, the whole situation is confusing because, like, you know, you could hear Budenholzer last year being like, "Oh, well, he's not." Well, I mean, we're just like load managing him. We're saving him for the playoffs, and I'm like, "What? Okay, you save like Giannis for the playoffs. You don't save Wesley Matthews for the playoffs."
Yeah,
we're and I get he's 35, but like I just didn't understand. Like when they re-signed him, I didn't really understand it because it was just like, I don't know. It's gonna sound bogus for me to say. I thought they would go kind of better without Wesley Matthews on the roster.
Oh yeah, they could have gone even like signing him the second time. They could have gone without him.
Yeah, like I wasn't running in the street being like, we re-signed Wesley Matthews. Like I wasn't doing that. Okay, I thought with, and again, it's good sounding I'm being a hater. I'm not. I just felt as though
he wasn't the fit.
Well, him or George Hill. I just didn't understand why they why they re-signed them both. It's just like, what? Why'd you? So you traded him the first time only to get him back the second. I just didn't understand what John Horse's mindset was to get both old aging players back. One of which was the favorite of Mike Budenholzer. I just, I didn't understand it.
Yeah, well, we live and we learn. But new coach, hopefully. George Hill and Wesley Matthews will no longer be a Buck, so that's fine with me. I mean, they did have both their first stints with Milwaukee. I think we're fine, especially for George Hill with his 3-point shooting. But yeah, but once they brought him back, it was like, didn't need to do this because it had been like 2 years.
But I think the one thing that paid dividends is the fact that Adrian Griffin coached the Summer League team.
Yes.
Usually
it's an assistant.
Yeah, usually you just kind of give that to like your the top assistant. But Adrian Griffin, like, he was there for his guys. And again, maybe that was because of his new coach and he's trying to get acclimated to Milwaukee and the players he might have. But I thought that was a positive sign for Adrian Griffin to kind of step both feet in and be like, here, I'm gonna lead you guys.
Yeah, and it's nice because I would say at least 4 of those guys will be on the roster too, so it kind of helps of obviously MarJon, Lindell, Chris, and Andre. Don't know about the other guys, but if they do some 2-ways, there's a potential of them playing or just at least being on the bench. But yeah, it's good because again, it probably would have just been like Vin Baker or someone else, but yeah, it kind of gets his foot in the water, comfortable with the rookies and second-year guys, and then transition into our starters. Once we get to that point, we're still a little ways away.
Yeah, and obviously, as you mentioned, that he got a really good look at MarJon. MarJon, with MarJon's like improved play in Summer League, that I think that we've mentioned this before, but he's got to get more minutes next year. He's got to be like first guy off the bench type of guy.
All right, now I'm gonna throw in a take. Could MarJon potentially be the starting shooting guard this year? Because he's shooting guard. He's more like shooting guard, small forward. So it could be like Drew, MarJon, Chris, Giannis, Brooke. I don't know. Depends. It won't be that way to start, but depending on how Grayson does, then compared to MarJon, if he's, let's say, like the 7th or 8th guy off the bench, or even probably Bobby's 6th, but 7th or 8th guy, like, we'll see. But obviously, two different playmakers. One's just kind of a 3-point shooter. MarJon can kind of do both. I guess Grayson and MarJon are kind of similar, just height-wise, but I don't know. Hot take, throwing it in. Just let it simmer a little bit, and we'll come back to it.
I mean, he would make our offense more dynamic.
He would. He's fast. He can shoot a 3. He can drive. He can.
And with the young guy, with the young guy, like being in the lineup with veteran players, I mean, his game can only get better because like the opposing team, they have a lot of other guys to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton and Giannis and Brook Lopez, it's like that's where a guy like MarJon Beauchamp could shine.
And especially with veterans like Giannis as a forward, and then you have Chris, who's kind of a guard forward, and then Drew, who's straight point guard. It kind of helps because you got 3 different perspectives on it compared to some of the teams who are, I guess, more on the younger side of their veterans are like 3 or 4 year guys compared to 8, 10 plus. So it kind of helps either way for whatever position they're going to kind of stick him at, which I'm hoping shooting guard.
I don't know. You know, we'll kind of see what happens with that. Like if Adrian Griffin, I don't know if he's going to be like a practice squad guy or see how the guys perform in practice and be like, oh, we'll go based on that, or no, like we got to kind of still let MarJon get his feet wet, so we're going to either go with Grayson or Pat. Which I'd be fine with. I'd be fine with either. I thought Grayson Allen's play last year, specifically in the postseason, was much improved than the last time we saw him in 2022.
Yeah, he was very like iffy throughout the year, but he had like, I forgot which month it was, but where he shot lights out from 3, but it's still play him and then see what happens from there. Because again, him and Pat were the ones in the trade talk. So again, don't think it's going to happen anymore, but it'll most likely be Grayson, I'm going to say. Yeah, I mean, it will be to start the season, but I would say for the majority.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll see how Grayson obviously performs like throughout the year, because I feel like Adrian Griffin could to put a stamp on this team. Could be like, hey, we got to go with MarJon. He's going to be, he's a young guy. He's going to be playing a lot better. He's got to get his feet wet playing some NBA games.
There was I was quickly looking up because I didn't realize I closed the tab, but I saw the kind of rumors for the last roster spot. I kind of forgot about it, but is that going to be Thanasis? That Wesley chain, or the losing Wesley, would that then just go right to Thanasis? I kind of forgot about that.
Huh.
I feel like it's going to have to. If it keeps Giannis here, sign him.
I thought Thanasis wasn't a free agent.
Checking summary, people around the league.
I haven't heard it.
Ooh, that is true.
He has a 2-year. He's a 2-year.
Would it matter until next year? Yeah, that's true. But yeah, otherwise, Bucks were eyeing Edmund Sumner. I've heard the name, not familiar with him, but he was on the Nets, I believe.
Yeah, so he was a good player. I watched him a little bit at Xavier, which is, I believe, where he went to school. And yeah, I think he showed flashes. I mean, he's one of those guys that you say his name and he's like, oh, that guy could be he feels right now he's a G League guy.
Yeah.
But his game could flourish on the right team. He's one of those guys where you watch him in the G League and he puts up big numbers.
And then you throw him on the NBA roster and it's pretty
And again, and that's not discrediting him. It's just the NBA is obviously one of the hardest leagues in the world.
Yep, and
So
it's who you're put
certain
around.
guys' games can translate over to the G League, but he can't translate to the NBA. I mean, look at Sandro. Like that game, his game definitely didn't translate like on the Bucks versus
at all.
No, like versus like Summer League or G League.
Yep, G League he was like MVP.
Yeah, and it just didn't translate to being in the NBA. So I mean, it's okay. It's a hard league. It's a hard league to be successful in.
Mm-hmm.
With a guy like Edmund Sumner, you have to carve out a niche. Okay, it's like, all right, well, I take this many shots in the G League, but since Milwaukee's not going to need me to do that, and again, if it's his final roster spot, then he might be like, I don't know, either the last guy on the bench or he could be our backup point guard. Who knows? If Edmund Sumner is our backup point guard next year, that would scare me a little more than it would if it was Lindell, because Lindell, I kind of know what I'm getting. I'm getting good defense. A little bit of shooting. I think Lindell in the right, like when he's
he does well in like the throwaway games or like the backup games.
Yeah.
I like him. I liked him. I was kind of mad when they didn't sign him to a two-way and he was just. But yeah, the Edmund Sumner, the teams that are interested in him are kind of random. It's the Hornets, the Bucks, the Raptors, the Heat, and the Suns. It's kind of like a wide variety. You got high contenders, some contenders, and then the Hornets.
Hey, the Hornets could go on the play-in spot next year where they get ragdolled by 40. But at this point now, everybody's just kind of trying to fill out the roster spots. Okay, it is a little funny that Edmund Sumner is being talked about for NBA teams. Meanwhile, you get guys like Kemba Walker who sign not even in this league.
Yeah, which I saw that. That was kind of crazy. It's because I wanted the Bucks to get him just to kind of have and to see what happens. But yeah, now he's playing overseas. But it looks like Sumner averaged 7 points, 14 minutes last year. So again, pretty average. But yeah, seeing Kemba Walker play in Europe is kind of weird
and sad. No, look, let's be honest here. It's sad when all these veteran guys like Dwight Howard
just kind of get thrown away. Even DeMarcus Cousins.
Like Kemba Walker, are signing in Europe. It's sad. I forgot who talked about this, either Steven Jackson or Matt Barnes, is that, teams need veteran players. Like, not even to be good players, but they need players to kind of show younger players the way. And like a veteran presence in the locker room. It feels like teams are kind of going away from that. I think it's sad to see, really good players, really productive players throughout their careers just
disappear.
Basically waste away their career in Europe.
Yep.
It sucks.
Well, especially at the caliber. Well, just think a couple years ago, Kemba was starting and then he just kind of went, what was it? Celtics, Knicks, Celtics, Mavs, and then just Europe. So it kind of sucks. Obviously with Dwight's thriving though. He's trying to recruit LeBron and all those guys to come play in Taiwan, but
nobody.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and here's the thing that Dwight Howard failed to bring up is that, the owner of the basketball team, first of all, he plays in one of the least hardest leagues in Taiwan
because he's dropping 50 some and
I mean, he's shooting threes. I mean, it's
20 rebounds. It's like a my career.
And it is a my career. And and the owner tried to get him to take a pay cut, like a 25% pay cut or some ridiculous thing like that.
Even though he's going to be bringing in a huge amount.
I don't even think he's still on that team. It's I don't know. Taiwan's such a Dwight Howard place to go.
It is.
Because because he lives in his own world. Okay. Dwight Howard basically is always just in his own head. and has a false sense of like where he is
Yeah.
in the NBA right now. Like it's like, yeah, no, he just keeps saying he got stumped for being a top 75 player, which I mean, argument can be made, but at the same time, it's like, dude, you didn't develop your game at all. You were just a rim running, like shot blocking center.
Uh-huh. But yeah, we're at that point where all the vets are getting kind of shipped out or just never seen again, like Isaiah Thomas and guys like that. But yeah, I'm assuming there'll probably be one more thing that happens with the Bucks. They're just gonna sign some random guy for a year or two, and then I think that's gonna be it. That's my prediction. It's a pretty obvious.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think they do need to. Being serious here. Well, I know I've talked up Lindell Wigginton. I would feel a little more comfortable if they address the backup point guard spot.
I would too.
Just someone. I don't like whether it's a trade, whether I don't even know who's left in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it just needs to be addressed. You can't. You can't have Drew Holiday. Play more than half your minutes. Okay, he's gonna be 34, I think. He's getting up there in age.
Yeah, around there.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a couple of guys who were just re-signed, like is it Ayo from the Bulls? I know he re-signed.
Ayo Dosunmu.
Yep. Is John Wall still free?
Can I get John Wall from 2015?
Yes, please.
I don't want John Wall now.
What happened to Dragic? Did they keep him? Did they get rid of him?
I don't know.
I think they have to re-sign him, and I just feel like they haven't re-signed him.
I'd be fine if they re-signed Dragic, but that's a player that's older than Drew Holiday. So again, cause for concern.
Otherwise, see, I don't know how recent this one is, but like Austin Rivers, Frank Ntilikina, Ish Smith. I feel like Ish Smith signed with someone. And then everyone else.
He also played for the Bucks too.
Yep, for like 5 seconds. But yeah, then you get down the list, and it's like, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I've never heard of. I don't know who David Duke is.
He actually played for the Nets.
Yes.
He also, you know what? I'm not even gonna go there, but I'm just gonna say he shares a name with it's a bad man. We'll just say it. Once you guys Google the interwebs, look up David Duke. Okay, I guarantee you the Nets player is not the first player that shows up.
But yeah, everyone else you're gonna have to pay money for.
Wait, can you read some of the names off that list? I'm gonna see if I've heard of them.
All right, so once it's bad when number 4 is George Hill. 5 is Rivers,
which they can't re-sign.
Yeah. Then you get to is it Neto or Neto from Cleveland?
Oh, Raul Neto.
Kennedy Chandler.
Oh, that's he was from the Grizzlies, yeah.
Jeff Doughton from Toronto. Sabian Lee, but I think he's on Phoenix, for sure on Phoenix.
Sabian Lee?
Yep.
Yeah.
Dwayne Washington Jr. Averaged 8 points this year.
All right.
Archie Diacono.
Oh, he's a grinder. Villanova.
Yep. But yeah, you get down to Devin Dotson.
Oh, I think I've heard
Trevor Hudson. Yeah. There's only 24 guys on this list, but yeah, good chunk of them. I'm just a casual. Frank Jackson. You even average a point. Just average rebounds and assists.
I think he used to play for the. Or am I thinking of Frank Mason? I thought Frank Jackson.
Yeah, you're thinking of Frank Mason.
I think I'm thinking of Frank Mason.
Frank Mason the third, Kansas GOAT. Yeah.
Have you got anything else?
No. We'll probably be ready we'll probably get a signing, and then sooner or later the preseason's going to start. Still got a lot of time, but yeah, this is the boring part of the NBA.
Yep. So thank you guys for tuning in to our special Summer League recap here on the Milwaukee Bucks on Tap podcast. And we'll see you when we see you.